Hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about stuff. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and on Facebook. There are links in the description below. This is going to sound like a joke, but it's not. I promise. Like, I have the actual information in front of me. I'm pretty sure you also saw the title. It appears that a large nation had AI actually buy Bitcoin for them. So this information comes from the company called K33, and this is from K33 Research. I'm telling you, this is weird. Where they found out that apparently an algorithm actually saw that it was a good idea for the country to have an allocation into Bitcoin. And I quote, this is from Vetle Lunda, the senior analyst at K33 Research. They tweeted, "The growth likely originates from predetermined algorithm-based sector weighting and risk diversification. It is unlikely to actually stem from an intentional choice to amass this amount of exposure. If increased Bitcoin was the target, we'd see more evidence of direct exposure, basically from people, and even larger exposure," end quote. That is to say, so for this, I'll say this and then I'll say that. This kind of reminds me of, for those of you who don't know, Aladdin. Aladdin is actually the algorithm that is from BlackRock. If you ever wondered why BlackRock is worth trillions of dollars, I mean, there are multiple reasons, but this algorithm was created in the 1980s, I believe. It didn't work out. And then around the 90s, people began to tweak it. And it's become so good that basically other companies pay to have access to the information that Aladdin, the AI, is actually, like, people pay a lot of money to have information from this. When you look back at why we have now so many corporate landlords, you know, like these companies and institutions from Wall Street who are buying up real estate, it's because of the information created from Aladdin. A lot of people don't know this. I think if the majority of the world understood that the world is literally already run by algorithms and AI, you know how like we keep hearing about it all the time in the news and you see these like Tesla robots and things like that. If people really understood that the world for a while has been run by algorithms and by bots, I think a lot of people would have a very different idea of the time that we're living in, because it is 2024 and we are living in the future. Back to the other point, that's what it reminds me of, is that basically this algorithm that was being used by this country came to the conclusion that they had to have an amount of money in Bitcoin for some kind of safekeeping. The country in question is Norway. Yeah, we've had news about Nordic countries for years within the cryptocurrency space. They don't make the news anymore. But years ago, there were a couple of Nordic countries that their national sovereign wealth fund already had Bitcoin inside of it. There were like certain amounts of allocations that for some reason we didn't know back then where they were coming from. But people were scouring through the list to figure out exactly where or why they had this amount of Bitcoin. The Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund is officially holding Bitcoin. The amount of Bitcoin, you might ask? They're holding 149 million US dollars worth of Bitcoin. This comes out to around 2,446 BTC, with an increase apparently of another 938 Bitcoin since the beginning of this year. K33 Research looked through everything and they found out that apparently per capita, per person, everyone in Norway officially, unofficially has $27 worth of Bitcoin through the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund. Weird, right? Yeah, but this is happening all over the place, whether it be from algorithm or not. Countries have been buying Bitcoin for a very long time. People keep forgetting or pretending that it's not a thing. We've had news over the course of multiple years, and even more so if we drag it on back to the news that we started getting around 2018, 2019 of countries actually mining Bitcoin, and even the news that we got before that when we heard that the Chinese government was also mining Bitcoin, and then the news then became that Bitcoin mining was illegal, but Bitcoin mining isn't illegal. Within China, you simply just have to get like paperwork, and the news that we got back then was apparently that the government as well had control of a lot of this is the news that we got, control of a lot of the entities that were actually mining the Bitcoin that had separate names but were already controlled by the government, which means that the government actively knew back in 2016, 2017 that they should be mining Bitcoin. And this is why many different governments have a lot of Bitcoin. And then you drag it even forward, and then we started getting news around 2019, 2020. Remember all that news when we heard that there were a lot of countries who are currently under sanctions for a multitude of reasons, but they actually decided to start using Bitcoin for imports and exports. And then a lot of the news was like, well, that's cool, they're trading stuff in Bitcoin, and it's like, you're not paying attention. If they're taking and giving Bitcoin as the actual money for the imports and exports, who are they getting it from and who are they giving it to? It's not just two countries back and forth who are doing it. We've had news over the years that it's probably above 9 different countries who are actively trading right now in Bitcoin as a literal way to circumvent the use of the US dollar. That's not what's happening here in Norway, but it's just more of it's something to think about. This market continues to expand in all directions. A lot of the news that we've even been getting, and I want to say the last year, more so since we actually have the Bitcoin ETFs, has been that a lot of companies have a lot of Bitcoin and have had a lot of Bitcoin for a while. And now a lot of them have exposure to actual Bitcoin ETFs. For those of you who missed the news just a couple days ago, we got news that Goldman Sachs has $500 million worth of Bitcoin. Goldman Sachs, one of the multi-billion trillion dollar banks, has $500 million allocated into Bitcoin ETFs. We keep seeing this all the time. The point, I guess, that I'm trying to make is a slight fragment of annoyance when it comes to, we keep getting this news every day. This isn't every other day news. This isn't, if this was once a week, I'll give you a once every 2 weeks. I'd be like, okay, we're chugging along. Every day is crazy. There was just news after the Goldman Sachs thing. There was something else. Someone else also has, I think, was it $400 something million worth of Bitcoin that they were also required. It was the largest hedge fund. No, the fourth largest hedge fund in Europe also has a couple $100 million, but there was another company or something in between who also has $400 million worth of Bitcoin. And we would not have found this out unless they hadn't. The point is, they had to basically file with the US SEC because they're holding US ETFs. And that was in the actual filings that so it's happening all over the place. We know that Bitcoin is literally being absorbed, but I think what most people, and I'm also shooketh because there was nothing in my mind that told me that there was a sovereign wealth fund algorithm that had chosen, think about this. This wasn't done by a human. This was done by a computer for a sovereign wealth fund to be like, hey, I think we actually need more crypto. And it bought $149.48 million worth of Bitcoin. If you want to check it out, it's in the description below, the actual news article. Yeah, so just want you to all know that crypto has basically won. We're probably in this for the long haul at this point. And I find it utterly bizarre that anyone could still be ignoring crypto or still be ignoring Bitcoin, especially when we get news like this every single day. Every single day. Anywho, I think that's going to do it for this video. I hope you've all enjoyed. Yeah, AI just bought some Bitcoin. I told you, I showed you the title and I was like, I told you it was going to be crazy. Hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, subscribing, and being here. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.